And when you put your music together with your partner's music, you're capable of magical music, from wild crescendos to beautiful lullabies. And yet what happens? We go and get into a committed partnership and everything fizzles. Picture a happily committed couple and you'll probably think of domestic bliss rather than sensual satisfaction. If you do imagine them in bed, you're more likely to think of them reading books, watching sitcoms on TV and drinking hot milk Milos. Yes, let's face it, it is difficult to keep the erotic fires blazing, much less spluttering along after 2, 5, or 50 years of partnership. But it can be done, and if it's possible for mankind, then it's possible for you. One of my favourite sayings is that God made humans the only living creatures who can have sex for pleasure and not just procreation. So why miss out? Why indeed? Well, there are all sorts of causes of sexual shutdown. Some couples simply shut down on sex because they feel society's pressure to be responsible once they're married. For instance, Amy, a 34-year-old office manager, said that before they were married, James and she would have sex just about any time and anywhere. But now they're living in a suburban house in a respectable suburb. It's like they're expected to be respectable and limit their sex to the bedroom on Saturday nights, like everyone else in their neighbourhood seems to. Sex seems frivolous. It's almost like we should be over that phase now, complained Amy. Well, there does seem to be a general social perception that sex ends once you're married. Just think of those bumper stickers, "No sex please, we're married." And the TV sitcoms that constantly joke about married couples never having sex. And the hens nights and bucks nights where cynicism reigns supreme and justifies paying for a stripper for that unfortunate victim who's having his or her last night of freedom. Please don't fall into this trap. Discard traditional expectations about couples. And while you're at it, about male and female roles. The secret to a sensationally committed sex life is focusing on your individual needs and desires and expanding on your sexual potential. There's a great book title that I think gives us the good oil, the message we really need to believe when it comes to creating the sex life that's right for us. This is the title, What You Think of Me, or us in this case, what you think of us is none of our business. Now there's another reason some couples stop making love. Some people go into sexual shutdown because they're just downright lazy. These are typically the folk who say, "Now I've caught my bus and I don't have to do anything." Or even worse, they say, "It's okay to let myself go now. I can get fat, blob around in front of the TV and forget about keeping up with fashions." Wrong. Sure, it's okay to slob around in a tracksuit some of the time, but it doesn't have to be covered in last week's egg for breakfast. And if you really want to have a hot night of romance and non-monotonous sweaty sex, you need to look the part and feel the part. Sexy, attractive and desirable. Another common reason for sexual switch-offs is that partners are not sexually compatible. Well, before you make that eternal commitment, make sure you are well matched in your sexual libidos. If you're an every-nighter, married to a once-a-monther or worse only on birthdays and at Christmas, you're pushing it uphill. And some folk could be compatible with their libidos, but they have their sexual facts skew with. One or both of them have bought into the common sexual fairy tales or myths that can suffocate your sex life. The only cure for sexual switch-off is realistic education and good communication, resulting in shared expectations and sexual interests. And don't worry, this doesn't mean submerging yourself in a mountain of self-help relationship and sexual manuals. It does probably mean, though, that you choose one good book for each. For relationships, I recommend a book by Harville Hendrix called Getting the Love You Want. And for sex, I recommend Gocross and Fisher's